welcome back to my channel. It's Christina at Homeschool and Grace, and I'm in a little different spot in my schoolroom today. I thought I'd bring you along with me while I put let me get them all, a bunch of student sheets away. I've got 4 kids worth of student sheets. I've got, I showed you pre-K, I've got first grade, and then I've got 2 exploring countries and cultures for 3rd and 5th grade. So lots of stuff to put away, and I thought we'd just kind of chat, let you know what's on my mind as I'm preparing for the new school year, and just put stuff away. So, because we are starting school in a couple days here, and so I needed to get this done, and I thought, well, what kind of video could I make today? And I thought, like, I'll just bring you along and we'll put stuff away and talk school. So, first of all, I wanted to share really quick, I pulled out the old timeline book and I updated it. So you could either call me lazy or resourceful. I'm gonna say I'm just so resourceful. I had these construction papers that are like double wide, and so I made it my timeline with that and just used, okay, I needed tape, and all I had was duct tape, so it's duct tape. No, we are not OSU fans. Sorry to disappoint you. My husband will be glad I said that. And then I cut out all my little timeline pieces and put them in here. This is for the first grader this year. My first grader. So now we can just pull them out of the box, because so many times I keep them on the paper and I end up losing the paper. Somehow I stick it where I think I'm going to remember, and I never do. So this year, they're all in here, all ready to go, except for the dates. And I double checked to make sure it all fit on my timeline. So that was really exciting. And if you need to know how to make a timeline, if like it's your first time seeing anything about a timeline, I will link a video up here and down below of my timeline video to help lots of people make timeline cheap and easy, and because they're kind of a pain, I'll be honest, to make. It's like you just have to take the time, and sometimes I don't want to take the time. So there has been years where we just tack them up on a cork board, because I've got cork boards all over. We stick them up there. There's been times we just don't do the timeline, or but this year we're doing it. We're doing it because I've got this one. My first grader loves to color, and I know she's gonna love coloring these and putting them in the timeline. So I was like, we gotta get this done. Okay, so let's start putting these away. I've got a few things here. Okay, first grade. Now I already emptied all of these out of old student sheets. You're gonna be like, if you saw the amount of student sheets, it's a little embarrassing. I will be honest, because I just didn't always take out the previous year's student sheets. I just kept them in here thinking, oh yeah, sure, we'll use them. And we just don't go back to them. And it's not that I never use the student sheets. I actually use them a lot, but last year was kind of rough, so we just didn't get through a lot of the student sheets. They kind of just got left in here. Or we've had years where I just didn't use them as much as I thought I would, so it was time to do just a good clean out, so I did all that. So if you're curious how I have this laid out, I have it by week. I'll show you one here. Okay, so here's week 1. You see that? And then I have all 5 of my kiddos color coordinated in here. So there's Bethany, Mary Grace, Hannah, Abby, and Naomi. I have all their folders in here. And I just look on here. Down below, it always tells me which week it's on, so I just grab the week and then I put them in. That simple. So I was thinking, what could I share with you today that maybe a little more prep for homeschool, what I've been thinking about as I'm preparing. I honestly will say I'm a little sad this year as I am preparing, just seeing like putting away our preschool curriculum for the last year. We're done with All Aboard the Animal Train, and I'm like, oh, it's sad to me. thinking that I'm done teaching that year. I just can't get rid of it. So it's going to sit on my shelf for now. Maybe someday I will, but maybe I won't. This will be one of those things, you know, they'll help me clean out my garage someday, and they'll be like, Mom, why do you have this? I'm like, oh, because it was so sweet. Surely you want it. And then my oldest, we're just doing high school. And so I don't have, like, student sheets necessarily to put away for her, which seems so weird. I think she does have student sheets. I gotta look. I can't remember at this point. But I don't think I have them like I thought I did. So that's sad to me too. Like, oh, it's so just different this year. And I'm teaching first grade for the 4th time. That means I only have one more to teach after this, which is just crazy to me, first grade. And it's kind of wacky how quickly things move on. Time is just moving forward. So I was thinking I had gone kayaking, and I was sharing with my husband how it could be a metaphor for life, Christian life, for homeschooling. And so I shared it with him, and he's like, I think you should share it. I think it might encourage them. Viewers, you guys, out in the YouTube world. So I was thinking, you know, I went kayaking for the first time. I've never gone before. I haven't even, like, rowed a boat that I know of. I may have. I have, like, no memory, really, of it. Oh, look, I found more stuff I missed. Whoop. Anywho, I was thinking, you know, as you're beginning your homeschooling journey, and it's your first year, if this is your first year, maybe you've been doing it a long time, but, you know, you start out, I'm in the boat, or I'm in the kayak, and my friend's daughter just kind of, like, pushes me out in the water, and I'm like, I actually don't know what I'm doing. And I'm trying to paddle my way back to the edge, and they're kind of all just getting started, not a big deal, and I'm like, I'm kind of panicking inside. Like, what just happened? I don't know what I'm doing. And finally, her daughter comes back around and helps me out. And I was thinking about, you know, when you're starting out homeschooling, sometimes you kind of feel like you're just, like, pushed out in the water. Like, you just pushed out. You got this paddle, but you don't even know how to use it. You don't know which way's up, which way's down. You're trying to figure it out. And your friends are like, just chatting. Like, they got it. It seems like they have it all together. Which really, you know, they probably don't all have it together. They, you know, we were all on various levels of kayaking. And I definitely was the novice, the greenhorn of the group. So it very much felt like that beginning homeschooling where you just are overwhelmed. You have all this stuff. It feels like you just got pushed into the river with a paddle you don't know how to use. But I hope that this channel can be for you, like my friends were for me out on the river, who were experienced kayakers. So it was funny how, you know, we're going down and we'd reach these little rapids in the river, and I kind of would have to pray through them as I see them coming. And I also went kayaking, I didn't say this, with my daughter, my oldest daughter. And I was thinking, man, I can't even help her if something does go wrong, because I'm not experienced enough. And I was thinking about that as we raise our children and prepare them for high school, like, there's going to be times of rapids where you kind of just got to let them go through and pray. You can only pray, because you can't help them, because you're trying to figure out how to just go forward. Because what was another funny thing is I kept going backwards. And my friend was like, you must have one really strong arm and your other isn't. as strong, and so I just kept going backwards through the rapids. I rode through the rapids backwards, which was just so funny to me looking back. Like, of course I would go through them backwards because sometimes that's what we're doing. We're going down rapids backwards, just hoping to get through the rapid. Maybe it's a really difficult assignment you're working with your kid on. Maybe it's just a life lesson of, character, heart issues that they're going through. More papers I missed. And you're discouraged going through the process because you're going down backwards. But I had these friends her husband came with us, and he would go on ahead of us to tell us which side of the rapids to go on so that we wouldn't get stuck. So he was always like going before us, and then she would kind of come behind us or, make sure so many of us got through, and then she would go through. And I thought, wow, like, in a way it's a picture of the Holy Spirit guiding us through, like, showing us the path to take. And it's kind of scary still. Like, you have to pray through it and trust the Lord to see you through as you're going down this path, these rapids with your kiddos. I got through one. See, it's good to talk with friends while you're putting student sheets away. On to first grade. Okay, so where was I? So I'm going backwards down rapids, but my friends are there helping and guiding me as I go. And I was thinking about that verse, through trials, to have joy through tribulation, or joy through just difficult times. I'm forgetting the word exactly. And I was thinking, man, I kept laughing through these rapids because I was going backwards down them. And I could have gotten really frustrated and annoyed with myself, but I had this joy because I'm like with friends, I'm with my daughter. It was such a sweet time. And then I was also so just grateful that I could even do it. If you have seen any of my past videos recently where I had the miscarriages and my whole body pretty much just broke, to have the strength to be able to do it and be healed enough to be able to go do this thing that, like, I've always wanted to do and thought I could never do again. It's pretty cool. But to bring it back to homeschooling again, I just think to trust the process and not to grow weary when you are going backwards, when you're not quite sure how to paddle, but to trust that the Lord will see you through. And even though it's hard, it's a good thing. And I know I've been sharing that a lot recently. I think that's really stuck with me. And maybe it's, maybe it's what we need to remember this year, that it will be hard, but it's good. And all these things are hard. Homeschooling is hard, but it's a good thing. And it can be such a blessing in your walk, and, well, a blessing for your kids especially. And I think a blessing for you. I think it can really grow us as parents. Hopefully only in good ways, but sometimes, it can be trying times. And I was thinking too, as I was out there with my daughter, again, we're doing this with our kids, and our attitudes really are how we're going to steer the boat. If we have a bad attitude because we're going backwards down the rapids, well, it's not going to make homeschooling very pleasant. And your kids are going to have bad attitudes. I hate to break it to you. They're going to have bad attitudes. You're going to have a bad attitude. But try to remember to have a good attitude as you're going through your days, because it's gonna be difficult at times. And if we can have a joyful attitude, it will greatly change the attitudes of our homes. Trust me. and staying calm. I'm getting flustered. Okay, I'm saying this where I struggle too. I'm not saying I don't struggle with this. I totally struggle with it. So this is a reminder for me too. Like, stay calm. You know, you're going to have these expectations. I have these expectations. You know, we're starting school Monday. And I think, oh, I have this expectation of what it's going to look like. And I need to remind myself, like, if my expectations aren't met, it's okay. It's okay. Because the Lord knows He will see us through going through that rapid backwards, going through some rocks in the water backwards, just like my friend's husband and her, you know, watching out for us along the way, guiding us. The Lord does that for us. And we don't need to be anxious or worried. And I think we get so bogged down worrying, like, are we doing enough? Are we doing enough? And you are. You are doing enough. Because you're getting down the river. You're getting down the river. In the end, you get to the end. You get to the end. We all get to the end of the river where we got to get out of the boats, of the kayaks. And then you get out and enjoy that journey with your kids. Because goes way quicker than you think. And another part, you're going to get sunburnt. It's going to change you. It's going to grow you in ways, you know. And I think it's funny, you know, I worked so hard to put so much sunblock on before we went, and I missed an entire shoulder. I don't know how in the world I did that. And then, like, you know, we had our life jackets on, like this little crevice right here on my shoulders. Totally missed with the sunblock, and we're burnt. And again, that's homeschooling. You're gonna miss little things, and you're gonna get sunburned. But again, it's okay, because you're gonna get to the end of the river. And everyone's gonna be okay. And it won't be the end of the world if you didn't teach them their periodic tables. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Because if they really want to learn their periodic tables, they'll go learn themselves. I remember one of the people talking at the conference, their son would just fight on math, and the mom could not handle it. And finally the husband's like, you're done teaching him math. You're done. And he then wanted to go into a career where he needed the math. So guess what he did? He went and taught himself the math, went to college or whatever, and got all A's. No more struggle. But the relationship was preserved. And so remember the relationship. That reminds me that, you're not always going to be right next to your kid through the whole thing. And maybe you'll need to get help with certain things, or tutors, or put some stuff online, do some stuff online. And, you might feel like you're way ahead of them. Oh, look, I missed another one. Pig. That's a really old one. Oh, I want to open. Okay, so what have we talked about so far? I'm going to keep repeating so I keep myself on track. So we talked about trusting the journey, trusting the Lord through the journey of homeschooling. We talked about not getting discouraged, about preserving the relationship, about having joy through the trials. So what are you nervous about starting with homeschooling? Are you nervous about not doing enough? Are you nervous that you've made a mistake? You've picked the wrong curriculum? Don't worry. Work with what you have. I was just thinking about that the other day. We're going to shift focus. We're out of the river now. And we'll talk about curriculum. So, I trust My Father's World. I've used it for years now. You guys know me. I'm like the My Father's World lady. Unintentionally, like, I just really like it. And I'm used to it. I know how it works. But I know it doesn't work for everybody. And I'm not offended if it doesn't work, like, for someone else. I just know it works for us. And so I like to share how it works for us. But the other day I was looking at a writing curriculum because I was thinking, oh, maybe I should try this other writing curriculum. I'm a bit anxious to use the one I have, which is My Father's World, and I think it's a great one, but I was getting a little bit like, oh, but that looks better. Maybe I should try that. And then I'm looking at the price. I'm like, holy moly. You know, you can only afford so much. And I finally just said, you know what? We're just going to use what we have. I have the curriculum. We ended up not using it last year, so I'm going to use it this year. We didn't finish it all, so we'll just kind of pick up where we left off and call it good. And if I don't teach it perfectly well, that's okay. I'm not going to stress over it because really I'm just teaching writing in elementary school. I don't need to buy a curriculum that's $200 for writing in elementary school. Maybe I do. And maybe you did. And that's okay too. But I know for me, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. So if you see that new curriculum and you've already bought some curriculum, I recommend just trying to work with what you have. And I'm not saying I've done this perfectly, and I've never gone and got the other curriculum. Man, there was a time I was trying so many different spelling curriculums. Oh my goodness. So many. Trying to find the perfect one. And I realized there's no perfect spelling curriculum. You actually just have to figure out how your child learns spelling. I know, it's crazy. So I figured out how this child, this next one, learned how to spell. So we're going to do it that way. We're not actually following the curriculum perfectly. We're going to use spelling power, but I'm not going to do it how necessarily they say. I'm going to do it a little bit more Charlotte Mason approach, where they can more look at it beforehand, and then we do the spelling lesson or whatever, or work through the words. But in the past, I would have to follow the curriculum to a T, the spelling curriculum, and I realized, like, that's not how that kid learns how to spell. Or maybe I needed to put the curriculum away and wait till they were older. That was another thing I had to learn. So I share this too about learning along the way, because we're going to hop back in the river. We're in that kayak. You're halfway down the river. You've gone backwards down some rapids. But you've laughed and you've had fun and you've stopped and you've swam. And your kids are having fun. And your friend comes by and says, hey, do you know how to paddle? And you go, no. Is my inexperience showing? And they say, well, yeah, it is. So they give you a brief lesson on how to paddle and how to do it correctly and how to dig into a deep paddle and or rowing, a deep row and then more shallow, and how to turn, and you go, oh, that's how you do it. So I want to remind you, you're going to be learning along the way, and you might think, oh man, if only I had known this with my last kid. But, I think that's life. You're just kind of always growing, and you're going to learn new things, and your kids are still going to get down the river in the end. So even if your oldest, it took you a while to, let's say your third kid, that you learned how to do this the right way, you're like, oh, sorry about that. I should have done that differently. Well, what can you do? what can you do? You did your best. Use what you had. And they'll still get down the river. But hopefully the relationship has been preserved. I can't remember what you do with these. I know this is that game. Is this at the beginning? I'll put these to the side. Another one down. Next one. Last one. This is getting full. It's exciting. I think it's always so fun when you get all the curriculum and you finally have a plan and you start putting it all away. Think, oh man, you see all the potential, and it's really exciting what you're going to learn. What you're going to learn with your kids and what they're going to learn. And I have found the more excited I am to learn it, the more excited they get to learn it. Because if you're like, oh, let's do this lesson. Bleh, nobody wants to really do it. Well, who wants to learn that? I surely don't. I want who's ever teaching me to be excited. And so then they can be excited too. Now, of course, we all may need a cup of coffee to get that excitement, but that's okay. I learned a new trick today. Did you know you can see what the name of plants are on your phone? You probably all know this. I'm the only one that's taken this long to learn. And guess who had to tell me? My mom, who is 75, is the one who showed me how to do this. So you can take a picture of a plant on your iPhone. Maybe it's on Android. I have no idea. I know it's on iPhone. And then you click this little eye on the plant picture. Oh, I missed another page. Oh, I missed a few. What did I miss here? There we go. And then it shows you the plant. Or it gives you it pulls up online what the name of the plant is. And then you can do some more research on it. I am so excited about this. I think this is going to revolutionize. Okay, did I just put these under the wrong one? Yep. I think it's going to revolutionize our nature walk, journals, things. Missed another page. I think it's going to revolutionize it because we can look up the plant and I can actually say what the plant is. And then we can study that plant. We can pick one plant for our nature journals. Because we have never kept a nature journal, I'll be honest. I've tried. I don't even know if I've tried very hard. I am just not. I was always a little intimidated because I don't know the names of the plants. So we're going to give this a try. I thought, okay, I can look up the plant. We can look it up. We can draw a picture of it. Because I'd always be trying to figure out, well, what's the name of this plant? Nobody knows it. And then we're drawing a picture of it. And if they ask me, Mom, what's this plant? I'm like, I don't know. And I don't know how to look it up. I guess you could look up green branches with yellow flowers and hope for the best. So anyway, we're really excited about using that for our homeschool. I do hope also to read more books this year. These are kind of my hopes for this year. Read more books. Be consistent. Not that we weren't consistent, but we're starting earlier this year because in the past we would start later and then we wouldn't finish because by the time it gets sunny here, we just want to be out in the sun. So then we cut back down on school and it's like, no, keep going. I'm trying to stay motivated to keep it going on everything that I want to get done. So we'll see. I'm excited for this year. I hope you are too. And I'll share with you as much as I can on how our year goes. The good, the bad, the ugly. This is such a fun year. I just love these little pictures I keep seeing. They remind me of the first time I taught it. And my oldest was so excited about these little pictures. It makes me excited to teach it again. So I'm getting to the end of this pile. And to the end of this video. I hope this is encouraging to you, you know. And when I originally thought of this, I guess allegory, I'm such an allegory person. I love Pilgrim's Progress. I'm excited this year we're going to read again Kingdom Tales. I just love that stuff. And you know, equating it to our walks with the Lord and our children, you can think of the same thing, that, you know, we can't save our children. We can't get them down the river. They have to get themselves down the river eventually. But, you know, we're going to be there with them, and we're going to get as far as we can with them, and then you pray the rest of the way. You pray through the rapids, you pray through the trials, and the Lord will see you through and see your children through. And it might be hard, but you got to trust the Lord. We got to trust the Lord with our kids. I'm saying that for myself. I say all this for myself because, man, if I could just save my kids, I would, but we can't. So only the Lord can, and the Holy Spirit working through them. So just remember to pray through those rapids that you're going to hit. They're going to hit, but the Lord is always with us. So I'm going to wrap up this video. Thanks for coming along with me while I put student sheets away. You know, we all have these little tasks we got to do as we prepare, and it's fun to have someone else to talk to as you do it. I hope this encouraged you as you start your new homeschool year. If you're like just starting out, then, you know, be encouraged by this, that it's okay if you don't know how to row the boat. But eventually you'll get to the end of the river and you'll know how to row the boat the best you can. And your kids will come with you, and just keep smiling and praying, and the Lord will see you through. So thanks so much for stopping by, and I hope to see you at the next video. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.